going to get into a lot of astrological theories in this video. So this is not anything that's concrete. This is me just kind of thinking out loud about astrology studies that I've been looking into recently. And I'm going to actually be talking about the unseen in astrology and how metaphorically that goes into the meanings and basically Hellenistic astrology versus like modern. When we think about the outer planets and how in ancient times they couldn't see the outer planets with the naked eye from the Earth, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. So when they were discussing astrology, they had the inner planets as the rulers of the signs. And now that we know about the outer planets in modern astrology, there are associations like, for example, Neptune with Pisces and Uranus with Aquarius and Pluto with Scorpio, as opposed to Mars with Scorpio and Saturn with Aquarius and Jupiter with Pisces. So because of that metaphorical couldn't see the outer planets from here on Earth, I tend to go by the Hellenistic, the original ruler planets of the signs. And I think that's, for me personally, I like to use that. But I do also take into consideration the outer planets being associated with them. So the next part that I want to get into of the unseen philosophical idea is the sign of Ophiuchus, or the constellation of Ophiuchus, because Ophiuchus is known as like the snake charmer. The man wrestling the snake is Ophiuchus. And there is like debates and discussions about whether Ophiuchus should be considered a zodiac sign or not, which would shift all the dates for the other zodiac signs. And I kind of wanted to put in my discussion on this. So Ophiuchus is seen, the way they described it online in this article I was reading, is that it falls like behind the sun. So in a way, it's like almost like not seen in the way that the other constellations are. And I don't know if I'm describing that correctly, but it's something along those lines. So that idea of the unseen is there again, as opposed with the other 12 zodiac signs. Ophiuchus has this idea of the unseen, and it's interesting because Ophiuchus, the mythology behind it, with it being the man wrestling the snake and the snake charmer, is that we as man and our ego come wrestling the snake. And if you think of the snake, snakes represent wisdom, and imagine this like very windy snake, and it's like man literally wrestling with that. It's like a metaphor for us coming to like our like healing journey and gaining wisdom through our healing and experiences. To me, it seems a bit similar to the idea of like the 8th house, and it's actually, they say Ophiuchus would fall after Scorpio and before Sagittarius. And I find it interesting. So it would be a blend a bit of the two signs. So Scorpio mixed with Sagittarius, to have the sign in between those two signs, to be a blend a bit of the two, I think would be a very transformative thing where we gain wisdom. It almost seems like it could be like step a bit between Scorpio and Sagittarius, possibly. And I'm not saying there is a missing step, but I'm just saying that if Ophiuchus was to be inserted there, man wrestling the snake, Scorpios are like scorpions, so there is that similar theme there. And then Sagittarius is like the archer, but also the centaur. And so maybe there is a bit of a connection flowing between them. I like to think of the signs as colors. I like to think, if you see like the signs on like the astrology chart on the circle, if you like smudge the colors a bit, I think would be to insert Ophiuchus. And the reason why I even looked into whether or not Ophiuchus should be included is because I really connect with the idea of the 13-month calendar, because when we look at the moon phases and how long it takes for the moon to change from one sign to another, if you do the math on dividing the days of the year, 365, but also use it on a 13-month calendar, it would fit perfectly with having Ophiuchus in there, transiting for about 2.5 days. I mean, according to what I was calculating. And this is me just doing a first beginner look into this as well. So if another astrologer out there has done like a lot into Ophiuchus, please like share, because I really would love to learn more. And then I also looked into Cetus a bit. And Cetus is very controversially thrown out there as possibly a 14th sign, and that didn't connect to me, because when I think of the turtle having 13 sections on its back and the woman's menstrual cycle 28 days, like 13 makes a lot more sense when it comes to months, so possibly with signs as well. So what would this 14th be? So then when I looked into it, and I also did the math on that, and I'm not great at math, so please, Ken has more information on this, please share, I would love to know more. But me doing my preliminary math, if we were to include Ophiuchus as, 13 signs, but also Cetus as a 14th. But they say that Cetus, that it really, like, the sun would only transit for a very short amount of time, but no one has really done the calculations on that. And my theory was that maybe it lasted the amount of time that a woman has their period, because again, with the menstrual cycles and the moon and the 13, just it fitting so well. When I look at that and I said, what if Cetus lasted for only about 7 days, or a bit less than 7 days? And that did work out with Ophiuchus being included too. And it's so interesting because Cetus is considered the sea monster, and it has its own mythology behind it. And it's very interesting if we were to connect that mythology to like a woman's period, along with like the 13 calendar, to connect with like the moon cycles. So I found it very interesting, because it's like, what if there is like not only Ophiuchus in the sense of the hidden? I almost think that it is meant to be unseen. So yeah, I just wanted to share some astro research that I've been looking into more.